How's it going, Joe?
Bro, I am so good, Dino. It's Friday. We're headed into the
I'm
weekend.
pumped.
What do you want to do, man?
I need a workout, mate.
Okay, I'm keen for
Should
a
we
workout.
go do a workout?
Let's go across the road. Let's go to Snap.
Snap Marangi Bay and see our mate Lalish.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's go see that man. Right across the road. Nice and easy.
Oh, yes. So good. Nearly there.
Lalish,
Hey, what's up?
jump on in, brother. We need a workout, man.
Ah, what's up, guys? How you doing?
Good shit, man.
Listen, mate, we need a workout, mate. And who do we know who's good at pumping the iron, mate? It's our mate Lalish.
This
you
dude
doing?
here.
Carpool Honcho, guest today, Lalish
Yes.
Sharma from Marangi Bay, Snap Gym, bring it on.
Come on, man. Hey, look, man, before we go, we always need a track. We need a tune, right?
Yes, yes.
So, what's your tune, man? What's lighting your fire?
It really gets me going. This morning I was really struggling, but my PT got the song up. I start pumping, getting 10 reps easy. It's by St. John Roses.
Nice.
Yeah, I love it.
Man, come
gets
on.
me going.
Let's go.
We got to do a workout though, bro.
Yes.
Can you do it? Lead us in the
Yeah,
workout,
let's
bro.
do it together.
Let's do it.
Pump it up.
All right. All right. Biceps. One point. Down. All right. Shoulder shrug. And forward. Awesome. Freestyle. Let's do freestyle.
Okay.
Show us your guns, bro. Show us your guns, bro.
Man, I feel like all flexed out and stuff like that. I don't think you can compare with that, though.
But
to
you
be
guys,
honest.
okay, you guys tell me how many times you go to the gym?
Once or twice a week, something like
Once or
that.
Oh, come on, man. Those are rookie numbers, man.
Oh, come on.
You know how many times I go to the gym? At least twice a day.
Twice a
Those
day.
are the numbers you need, okay? You gotta believe in yourself.
So here we are today in the Carpool Honcho, and we just absolutely loving the series, and we hope that you are too. To have with us today the owner of Snap Gym Marangi Bay, Lalish Sharma. Mate, you're quite educated. Tell us a little bit about your education.
Yeah, Dino, I came from Fiji in '91, high schooling in Auckland, and then after that I went to Auckland University, studied as a civil engineer, and then I got a job here, worked in the roading industry for Downer, and then after about 3 years of work I moved over to London to study insurance, and after studying that I worked in London as a road engineer, and then came back into Fiji and into a role as managing an insurance company.
Yeah, so your background, you've done business in Fiji, you've done business here.
Yes.
Do you want to take us through a bit of that process? You know, yeah, tell us a little bit about your business and your entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, so really loved working in Fiji because I was at the kind of the top two of the food chain there.
Yeah.
Was able to make a lot of difference. Having lived in the UK, having lived in New Zealand, there's a huge difference in customer service. So when I was in Fiji, I was able to basically copy a lot of the customer service attributes you experience in New Zealand into Fiji.
Yeah,
Just a
sure.
copy and paste.
Yeah.
Nothing you have to innovate.
Yeah.
Like for example, I was able to borrow something from TNT or DHL. We had a lot of complaints about from our customers. They were not able to track their claims. So what we did was we basically had a portal on the internet where you were able to track your claim real time.
Yeah.
And that really pushed our
Can't even do
numbers.
that in New Zealand, mate. Let
Yeah.
alone Fiji. Right?
Perhaps
Do we have that here now?
perhaps the claim service here is so good you don't really need to follow.
I
I don't know. I haven't had a claim.
I talked to my insurance company about that.
Yeah, so little things like that. So it basically made me very customer focused, and a lot of things I had borrowed across when I came over to New Zealand to run a business. Being very customer focused, always giving the customers the best customer service you can,
Yeah.
the best experience. And I've been talking to Dino just yesterday about this. How referrals by members are the best form of marketing. So
Sure.
if you can keep a customer happy,
right.
they will tell 10 people.
That's it.
Rather than spending all this money advertising and then not getting your service right in the first place.
Sure.
There is no doubt about it. Right now, we are seeing a huge increase across, I think, multiple business and industries that the business is coming in through referrals.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
In the gym industry, same thing. The best customers we get is when they're from the referrals.
Mate, what's the number one thing for you in business? We melt it all the way back to, the core of who you are. What's the number one important thing to you when it comes to business?
The key word that I always use in business is empathy. Even in the insurance industry, how would you feel if your insurance company treated someone like you that? And similarly in the gym industry, always be nice to people, be fair, right?
Can I just ask,
Yeah.
because you do mention that sometimes, fairness, empathy. Is that because you had a moment in business or a moment in your career where you had the opposite, and so it caused something in you to change that, to do a 180 on that?
No,
Or not,
It's always been part of my, ethics and my values
Okay, it's just part of
to
your
always
values.
being good to people.
Yeah.
I believe in karma a lot.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be unfair to people, it's going to come and bite you one day.
So, mate, if that's the case, what would you suggest to any of our viewers out there? They're in business, and maybe it's a client, maybe it's a supplier who have been pretty unfair to them. Because when we go through challenging times like we have with COVID,
Yeah.
people start to panic. And when they panic, they get greedy. And
Yes.
they basically think of themselves. They become unfair. There'd be a lot of that going on right now.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Key thing in any business is if you have a dispute, try to settle it before going to the courts or the legal system. But before that, try to meet face to face. Keep away from writing long emails and becoming keyboard warriors, because we have a tendency to not to be scared and writing things that we're not meant to, and we escalate matters to another level.
Yeah.
And you rather start off the whole journey by having a face-to-face meeting and try to sort it out, and things tend to get more settled
advice.
when you have a face-to-face meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't go write about it on Facebook.
Absolutely.
Keyboard warriors, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Hey, look, I've heard it a lot from your employees, from your teams. They love working with you. You create an environment of trust. You create environments where people thrive. And I wondered if you could speak a little bit about that. We've got a lot of people watching that have teams, they're leaders of teams. Talk a little bit about how to build a team, teamwork, the importance of it.
Yeah, so first of all, what I do, I try to ascertain what sort of values the potential staff has.
Okay.
First of all, you got to be able to share the same values. If you don't get that right in the first place, like my value is to make sure you get the best customer service, right?
Sure.
And if a person comes for a job interview and talks about just making money, not worried about customer service, obviously he's not part of the team.
There's a misalignment.
Misalignment is going to be very hard to change.
Sure.
Yeah. Certain things you can change, but the value system is very important.
Sure.
Now, another thing I always talk about is creating an environment where staff can thrive.
Yeah.
Giving them all you can, providing them all the assistance and allowing them to thrive to the next level.
Incredible. What are some questions that a business owner could ask, a leader could ask to identify those values? Like, how do you identify that someone either has and shares your values or doesn't share your values?
You basically would ask them open-ended questions in the job interview.
Yeah.
You basically ask them, what are your values, and then
Like just like that. Like really, that's
what are your
it.
values,
That's it.
and just drop it to them, because if they don't have the values in the first place, they will struggle to answer it.
And ask for an example of where
examples.
maybe, that was challenged, and how did they deal with it?
Yeah, it's a trade secret, but what would you do? 5 minutes later, you ask the same question in a different way and see if they give you the same answer.
Yeah, that's
good.
right.
So I normally do in a job interview, I'll give them a case scenario and say, how will you deal with that?
Sure.
And then you think back 5 minutes ago, they said the value system was this, but how have they answered this particular case?
Man, that's
Scenario.
incredible.
That's tricky.
Yeah, that's what I used to do all the time.
I often think that people are the lifeline of your business.
Absolutely.
People are I believe your greatest asset. I'm sure we all share that.
Yeah.
No, and I had this thought about an analogy a few months ago. I thought, imagine taxiing out onto a runway and saying, we're not entirely sure that the engines are going to work today, but we really hope that you have the greatest experience here on this long haul flight across this ocean, 12-hour flight. We hope this all works out for you and that you get the result that you wanted. And I thought, no one in their right mind would commit to that, right? I mean, I'd be like, I'm out, get me out. I'm not sure if these engines are going to work. Yet it's funny how in business we think we can do the same with people.
Yes.
Well, if I just put in these people and again, doesn't really matter if they're aligned with my values or not. If I just get them to work, I'm sure this company will work. Yet obviously part of the success of Snap, part of the success of everything you've achieved in Fiji and beyond, which we'll talk about, is determined by how you've employed your people, right? The right questions that you've asked. So I think that's absolutely incredible. You've set your vehicle up to win.
Yeah, this thing didn't actually happen overnight. I struggled in the first 2 years.
Yeah.
Not being able to get exactly what I wanted.
Sure.
And whatever I have shared with you has been developed whilst being in New Zealand for 2 years now.
Really? Yeah.
Okay, having come back.
Yeah.
So because when I was working with Downer, we didn't get involved in the hiring and firing. We were just part of the project team.
Sure. Okay.
So having owned a business now, you get a better understanding of what's at the ground level.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Mate, what is success to Lalish?
Success for me is not only financial. You've got to look at the holistic picture of health, wellness, and obviously how well the health of the bank account is.
Yeah.
But you've got to look at all together rather than one thing alone. Otherwise, you tend to lose focus. And I always believe in this old saying by the Dalai Lama that we tend to spend all our wealth, all our health, to get our wealth, and right in the end you actually spend that same wealth to get your health back.
So true. Yeah? So true.
And this time away from Fiji, I've been here for 3 years, has given me a great appreciation of being able to do that and spending more time in the gym and looking after my health, eating healthy, and keeping my mind focused.
Wow, that's incredible. I was going to ask you, and this probably leads into this question, how do you stay on top of the game? You're someone that people do watch, you're respected. How do you stay on top of the game as a business owner, as a gym owner? How do you do it?
I think it's very important for us to have goal sets. Setting goals is very important in the first place. Otherwise, you don't get on top of it.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'm going to stay on top of it. You got to have a goal.
Sure.
Right. And when I came to New Zealand about 3 years ago, I had I had a borderline cholesterol. I was on the verge of becoming diabetic at 41, age 41. And my goal was to get a lot healthier. People in Fiji tend to die a lot younger.
Yeah.
And in their 50s they die. And I wanted to avoid being another statistic. And I've got a family history of cardiac issues. So that made me keep on top of my game. It motivated me.
Yeah.
And I know everyone is looking at me in the gym. They know I'm the owner. And I've got to make sure I set the example.
Wow. Yeah. Love it, mate. Hey, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Carpool Honcho show today, mate. And as we're good friends, and we are business allies, aren't we? We're in each other's corner.
Yes.
Right here on Constellation Drive, Snap, Marangi Bay, and the Crate are basically neighbours, and we have supported each other through the highs and the lows. And I just want to say it's an absolute pleasure to have you in my world, mate. And for anyone that is looking for a great gym to go to, Lalish and his team are fantastic.
Yeah,
and
amazing.
Everybody that joins the Crate, we have a partnership going where they have a few free weeks available to them, credit available to them to use at Snap Gym here, and we want to encourage everybody to come on down and check it out for themselves. But you run a great ship there, mate, and we just love being your neighbour.
Yes, and we work along with all our neighbours, the breakers and everyone. You want to see the breakers tower over. So,
it's going to be good.
And it's not only 3 weeks now. We've also thrown in some dollar value to it. It's $149 voucher you get for every new Crate member.
Yeah, sure.
And they can redeem it any way they want, whether it be membership card, whether it be the access card, or whether it be the weekly subs.
Yeah,
fantastic.
Sounds good.
And just lastly, where can people find you? If they want to get a hold of you?
Right next to the Crate. My office is in the Crate.
Right
there. Yeah.
Oh, no problem. Well, again, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate that. And to those of you watching, thank you for tuning in to the Carpool Honcho with our incredible guest, Lalish Sharma. Stay tuned. We've got more episodes coming out, more interviews, more conversations. Is there any parting words of wisdom, guys, before we shoot out?
Keep it healthy.
Keep it healthy. Awesome. Thanks, guys. We so appreciate it. Yeah, that's right. No rookie numbers.
No rookie numbers.
Awesome. Thanks, Lalish.
Big thanks to Toyota. Big thanks to Bismuth Locals.
Yes.